Well, hello. Thank you for joining us here in the Juice Bar. We've got a very exciting discussion going on today, and I'm joined by the wonderful Sue Aldreeve, who's our Product Quality Manager for Juice Plus. During the next sort of 20-30 minutes, not sure how long it's going to take, but we're going to talk about everything Juice Plus Capsules, which basically was put together a long time ago now, 26 years, 1993. Believe it or not, I've been taking these since 93.
Wow. Yeah, 10 years before me.
Yes. So Sue is a qualified nutritionist as well. Yeah. It's important we get that information across. Yeah. How long have you been a nutritionist for?
So I graduated in 1990, and then I became a registered nutritionist early 2000s.
My God, 29 years ago.
I know.
A long time.
Yeah.
Which means you have a lot of experience.
Yeah, I do.
Okay, so welcome if you're joining today. First of all, we've got some questions lined up. You see, I went shopping last night. I don't go shopping very often, but I went to a well-known supermarket to buy everything that goes into Juice Plus. But maybe first of all, for the audience that's watching here, what are Juice Plus capsules? Tell us about them.
So today, the ones we're talking about are Juice Plus Premium.
Yep.
And so we've got them here. And that's the fruit, the vegetable, and the berry blends. And really, these are food supplements that contain the powders from over, well, it's actually 30 different fruits, veg, and berries. And we have some added ingredients in there, so I always say don't forget the plus as well. And what we've done is include a wide variety of fruits and vegetables, so we get a kind of orchestra effect from that variety.
So I think what I love about this is it's the 30 working together in synergy.
Yeah, absolutely.
I guess it's 1 + 1 doesn't equal 2.
Yeah, and it's recognised. You know, we know healthy eating guidelines are about having at least 5 a day fruit, veg, and berries in our diets. And the message that sometimes gets forgotten there is a variety. So, you know, eating 5 apples a day may get you to your target of 5. But we've missed the variety, and that's where the ingredients that we use fit.
That's probably, I think, the thing for most people, I mean, me included, by the way. We probably eat the same sort of fruit every day, I would say. You know, a lot of people maybe have a banana or an apple, but they wouldn't have the exotic fruits anyway, certainly the things that are not in season.
Yeah, I think seasonal ones, particularly around the berry blend, they're ones that are less typical for us to include every day.
Right. Okay, great. Let's talk about the 30 things that we brought. And by the way, I did fail as well. I did not manage to get everything because
I have a few concerns
not
about
everything
what are
was
on
in
these plates.
I was rummaging around the supermarket at 8 o'clock last night thinking, where the hell do I get this? And I just can't find it.
Yeah.
So first of all, let's maybe talk about the vegetables. What vegetables are in our vegetable blend?
You did really well here. So I was looking, and I think you've just about got everything. So you can see we've got some lovely parsley here and some kale. And down here we've got spinach and garlic. And we've got broccoli, carrots, some lovely big tomato, and some cabbage. So, you know, you've really done well there.
I did pretty good, actually. I think it was probably only, the beet? I think I missed out on the beet.
Yeah, but I think, you know, overall, this is a really good illustration of what's gone into our capsules.
Fantastic. Full marks nearly for me on that one.
I would give you, you know, highly commended.
Okay, let's go on to the fruit soup.
Yeah, okay. So in the fruit, how well have you done here? Well, we've got the apple.
Yep.
And the orange. And we've also got the mango. We've got dates. Not seeing a prune there. Yeah, good. Peach.
I failed on prunes.
And I can't see any cranberries, but you've got a lovely pineapple, and of course you've got the beetroot as well.
And acerola cherry.
Yeah, always quite hard to find in a local supermarket.
I've never really seen any of those in the supermarket.
No, and they're typically not things we would consume as an everyday fruit, so it's a slight variation on the types of cherries we would normally have.
So I think the important part as well on this is the selection that's been made to go in Juice Plus capsules is for reasons of nutrient dense.
Yeah.
Fruits and vegetables, and in terms of the benefits of what they do.
Yeah, and it's good to have that variety of different colours, different types. You know, you've got leafy, you've got fruits, you've got roots, so you've got the whole mix of different farm parts. And that's important to remember, because we don't just use the top parts of the broccoli, we'll use the stems as well in our powders. Similarly with the apple, we use the whole thing. And with the orange, you know, if we eat an orange, we don't eat the peel.
No.
When we use an orange in our fruit blend, we use the whole fruit.
Fantastic. I guess there's a lot of benefit in the peel.
Yeah, you're getting some added phytochemicals that you wouldn't otherwise.
Right. We've been chopping them up this morning. Just now we've got our beautiful Juice Plus aprons.
Yeah.
I was busy embroidering this late last night. Not.
Best new domestic goddess.
Let's talk about the berry blend here.
Yeah.
So, and by the way, I love the berry blend. I mean, just look at the colours there as well that we've got. I did fail, yes, I know you're going to point this out to me.
I'm slightly concerned. Do you know what this is? This is a black berry. A black currant is small and round, and so we don't have black berries in there, but we do have black currants, but they are quite hard to find.
I went to a different school than you, Sue, on that one, sorry.
Yeah, you did go out foraging when you were a child. So we have got some other examples here. Obviously you've got green grapes.
But there's an example, really.
Again,
I couldn't get Concord.
Concord grapes are not things you're going to find in your
supermarket.
supermarket.
Why are Concords so beneficial?
Because they're nutrient dense, and so we chose them for that reason. But you have done well. You know, you've got some raspberries, blueberries, and a bit of ginger root. So there are some.
Love ginger root. I mean, that I think is great for the immune system as well, isn't it?
Well, it's a very traditional ingredient in a lot of foods and in things like teas as well. So there's some evidence there of its role in our well-being.
What we have done is we've emptied some of the capsules, and I think it's just great illustration to see this as well. So there's the powders from the berries, the fruit, and obviously you see the vegetable, the colours that we've got there, which is just fantastic to see, of course, what happens when you ingest the capsules, and that's it.
And you can certainly smell them as well. And when you go around where they're making our capsules, the manufacturers, you definitely know when vegetables going through, because that's a really, really strong smell.
Great.
Yeah.
Another thing I'd like to sort of point out is, from what I understand on the farms, these are picked at when they're most ripe.
Yeah, so we work with all our suppliers. So that's our manufacturing partners, and with the companies that help us with the drying, and with some of our farmers, to make sure we get top quality produce that goes into our capsules.
Right.
And that's really important for us.
And what I've seen, of course, with a lot of supermarkets now is a lot of the fruits are picked when they're green, because they come thousands and thousands of miles on these container ships now.
Yeah.
And a lot of them are gassed, from what I see and what I hear,
well,
to ripen them on the day.
Yeah, and
do
you know, I think these are other people's nutritional arguments. And, you know, I get loads of questions about this and about whether fruits and veg are as nutrient dense now as they were 20 or 30 years ago. And actually, I think the thing we have to try and remember is that we still need to be having our 5 or more portions of fruit and veg a day. So let's forget some of these arguments. I think it's important to think about sustainability and the effect on the planet. That's my particular thing. But actually, we still need to be aiming for that plant-based diet with plenty of fruits and veg in there. So we may not be getting, you know, our hand-picked allotment produce, but we are having to find a balance between what fits with our beliefs and also meeting our targets. And if we find ourselves struggling, that's where our capsules can come in. They can help us bridge the gap between perhaps what we are doing and what we should be doing.
Right.
So they're a really good fit there.
Statistically, of course, as we go around the globe, and certainly Western Europe anyway, you know, we're not as eating as healthy as we used to. We have a lot of processed foods nowadays. What are the sort of figures that come up where, statistically, you've seen some figures, of course.
Yeah,
how many people are not getting the 5 and 5 a day now? Where are we?
So, well, there has been some improvement. So in surveys from late 80s or 1990, we were finding the average fruit and veg consumption in terms of portions was about 2.9.
Okay.
So, you know, just over halfway there. And that was average for adults. If we look at it now, that's up around 4. So 4 portions, but of course that's an average. if we look at subgroups of the population within that, we still find that the younger adults are the ones that tend to have a lower intake of fruits and veg.
Right.
And of course, when you're young, you think, well, I'm never going to get ill, I'm never going to die, so I don't need to worry about it. I've got a busy lifestyle, I'm going to go out and eat this, that and the other. And there was also some data that was out fairly recently, I think 2017, that said with adults, I think it was about 2/3 of adults are getting their 5 a day.
Right.
When we're looking at children, that's still much lower, that's under a fifth. So that's children sort of 5 to 15. But again, you know, when we look at adults as a group, we tend to find the older adults are better at it than the younger ones.
There you go.
Yeah, so there's room for improvement. And that's measured against 5 a day, and I know some countries have higher targets than that.
It's good to see the government as well. They sort of have some initiatives and campaigns nowadays, you know, and they're sort of pushing the population to say, hey, come on guys, eat more fruits and vegetables.
Yeah, and it's not just eating more fruits and vegetables. There's been, so the World Health Organization came out with recommendations, and that's very much about having a plant-based diet. So that would include your fruits and veg. Doesn't mean you can't eat meat or dairy, but it's encouraging a plant-based diet. And there was more recently a sustainability diet that was developed and published, I think it was in the Lancet, that again was sending out that same message. Now that has been quite controversial, it's still open to debate, but it is basically showing that we still have that consistent message of plant-based, and that includes having more fruit and veg. And if you think we started this 26 years ago, and we're still very much in line with current recommendations, which is brilliant.
And there's a massive trend out there now, of course, plant-based foods. It's on the up and up, isn't it?
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of a move towards plant-based diets, partly because of the recommendations. We're seeing a large trend towards more vegan diets. But even if you're not going as far as being a vegan, then people are going flexitarian. So that might mean that you're having some meals that are solely from plant sources.
That's me. I'm going to be called a flexitarian.
Yeah,
now
me
from
too,
today.
actually.
Anyway, I think cost perspective as well. Look at this here. So last night, and by the way, I'm not the world's best shopper in terms of on price.
You didn't go to the cheapest outlet, did you?
Of course, no, I didn't. No, but I bought these. There were 27 items actually. £39.
Okay, so that's not going to be
You'd
just
probably get it
for
a lot
day,
cheaper, I'm
but
sure. Yeah, exactly.
yeah, it does show, and I expect you would have found that some of the out of season products, I mean, raspberries are still in, but they'll be going out soon, and maybe some of the things that had to come from a long distance will have a higher price. So shopping seasonally, shopping locally will keep that down.
Right.
But yeah, it does
But
take
you know, I
some
mean,
thought.
£39, €45. It's a significant chunk out of the budget.
So how does that compare to cost of capsules?
Right.
The
Well,
daily cost?
yeah, I think that's the great thing about these capsules is that they are priced for the masses in terms of where your priorities are in terms of health, of course. But in the UK, they're just over £2, £2 8 a day, and in Europe they're on average around about €2.55 per day to get 30 fruits and vegetables and berries going through your bloodstream every day, and I think it's terrific.
Yeah, and so they are there really to help bridge that gap. And let's aim for healthy diet, healthy lifestyle. Aim for your 5 a day. You've got your insurance policy there.
And then, of course, if we need to do the other things together with it, drink more water, have more exercise, etc.
It's all part of that healthy lifestyle approach.
Yeah. Let's get on to some questions which we've put together. First question is going to be, or the second question, how do they fit with current trends in healthy eating? Well, I think you mentioned some of that already.
Yeah, and we've talked about, you know, the recommendations for plant-based diets and the trends we're seeing.
Yeah.
And of course there may be people out there who are following specific diets, and so I would always see, so if you're into, maybe you're concerned about your weight and you're doing a bit of weight loss, or you're into one of the fad diets that's coming out at the moment, I'm not going to name any particular ones, but it's always good to have a foundation for whatever you're doing, and so these really do fit as a foundation for good nutrition.
And of course, I think the important part is weight management. You know, get away from these diets, weight management, look after your diet every day, health, exercise, etc. Next question. Tell us about some of the things we've done to keep the capsules current over the time they've been available over those 26 years. Obviously there's been some changes made.
Yeah, and there have, and I think you've seen even some of the changes in the sort of the style of the packaging as we've gone over those decades.
Absolutely.
It's been quite interesting at times. So we've taken advantage of new developments in technology, maybe new ways of growing things or new ways of putting things into the capsules. Even the capsules, if you think when we started out we had gelatin capsules, and that was because gelatin capsules were the only ones that would work with our powders. Our powders are quite tricky to work with.
I think they used to eat the way out.
They kind of, and also the capsule doesn't just contain the powder, it protects the powder. And that's really important. If we've taken all this effort to get the best quality produce, we want to have the best quality capsule as well.
Yeah.
And so the good example there is we moved to a plant-sourced capsule called Pullulan capsules, and that's derived from fermentation of tapioca. So that's a really good example. We have made changes, but we've always endeavoured to keep it the same, if that can kind of make sense. And the reason for that is because we have always wanted to maintain the link with our research. And if you think the first research published in 1996, and we're still publishing more and more, I think we're up to 38 now, and there's more ongoing, that's critical for us. We want the research to still be relevant.
I think that's what I think is terrific about the Juice Plus company. Unlike a lot of companies that use celebrity endorsement nowadays, is they put the money where the mouth is and they put it into research, peer-reviewed, independent, gold standard studies, which we've got now, which have been conducted on 5 continents around the world, isn't it?
Yeah, and over a long period of time, and always in humans. So, you know, those are all relevant points. And to me, when, excuse me, when I'm, you know, when people say to me, oh, how do I know which supplement to take? I'll say, look for 3 things. And the first one is, does it contain, and is there evidence that it contains what it claims to contain?
Okay.
And we know that every batch is tested, and we have evidence to support that. So that's a big tick.
We have a lot number on the bottom, don't we?
Yeah.
We can trace it back.
And every lot is tested, so that's a tick. The second one is what's in there bioavailable? And by that I mean, can our bodies absorb it, and can it get to cells in our body where it can make a difference? And again, we know from the studies that the nutrients in Juice Plus capsules are bioavailable. If they're not bioavailable, you're putting them in at the top end, they're coming out the other end without actually being able to make any difference. So, you know, that's important. And the third part is there independent published evidence of them having an effect on health? And we know from our research that that's the case for the capsules.
So even if you were taking Juice Plus and you actually felt no benefit at all, you know scientifically it's doing something better for your body.
Yeah, we know that it can have an impact on your body. And of course we're all different, so different people have different experience. The thing I would say, you know, is we're about inspiring healthy living around the world, and we're about doing that over a long period of time. And the capsules are an excellent example of products that we need to commit to taking for a long period of time. You know, much the same way you wouldn't eat a portion of broccoli or do your 5 a day once and say, well, it hasn't made a difference. With the capsules, you need to commit to them over a long time. And again, that fits with this concept of sort of foundational nutrition as well.
Fantastic. So you're sort of banking that benefit, is what you're saying.
Yeah, and it's quite interesting, isn't it, that sometimes we make changes, and it's only when we stop taking things that we think, oh, actually it was making a difference.
I think you've answered a lot of questions actually for my next question, which was why choose Juice Plus capsules?
Yeah, I think that was exactly that point.
Yeah, yeah.
And you know, I love the fact that the company has committed to research over such a long period of time.
Yeah. Next question is, who can use the capsules?
Okay, so the capsules are designed primarily to be used by adults.
Okay.
Clearly, if you have a pre-existing health condition, it's always wise checking with your doctor before starting any change to your diet or adding any supplements, so that would be the same thing here. And similarly, if you're pregnant or breastfeeding, although we've got evidence of use, a safe use of them during those periods, you know, it is a period of change that's very personal to each individual, so go and check that out with your healthcare practitioner. But otherwise, generally healthy adults. If you want to use them with your children, be realistic. You know, it's got to be about parental choice. If you've got a tiny baby that's not taking solids, don't try and stick a capsule down their throat. So be realistic. It is parental choice. We would typically say, you know, if a child is a teenager and is pretty much the same size as an adult, then go for an adult dose.
Right.
If you want to give the capsules to your children when they're younger, you know, we'd probably say leave it until they're about 6. And you might want to use a half dose. And if you're concerned about swallowing the capsules, you can of course break them open, like we've done here, and sprinkle the powders onto a suitable food, so something like yogurt, onto your breakfast cereals. And I do know people who've got you know, really blitzing blenders who just throw the whole capsule in and don't even bother to take
That's me, by the way.
Yeah, there's a few of you around who do that, and it works perfectly.
It does.
Yeah.
It's terrific, it really is. How should people take the capsules?
Follow the instructions that are on pack.
Not everybody reads the instructions.
I would always say read the label. The label is brilliant. It will tell you what's in there. So if you've got an allergy, check it out. Check the ingredients list. If you're looking for how to take them, then the instructions are here. And it's take 2 of each with a large glass of water, preferably with meal times. And because that just means, you know, they're quite potent. If you take them at meal times, they're mixed in with other foods, so you know you should be more comfortable for your tummy. And just go along with that and keep taking them on a daily basis.
Next question, Sue. What does the company do to ensure that the capsules are high quality?
There's a lot that the company does. Obviously, there's a quality team within Juice Plus. People might not know that. There's actually a whole product team, and some of that team works on product quality. And so that means working with manufacturers, so that we, for example, will go in and inspect the manufacturing premises to make sure they're compliant with our standards. We have detailed specifications of what we want our products to be. There's always testing that goes on to confirm that, but we build the quality in from the start. We don't wait till the product's made and then test it and think, oh dear. We make sure by putting in the controls at each step and by having a close relationship with our manufacturers and with some of our growers to make sure that we're building that quality in. And of course, we do have independent assurance. I don't know, we've got a box here, but if you look inside your box, you'll see a logo that says Fresenius. And Fresenius are an independent organisation that do quality assessments, and they assess the manufacturers. They even go and assess some of the places where we get our fruit and vegetable powders. And they also test our capsules 4 times a year, so each one 4 times a year, and that's to confirm that they contain what they say they contain. It's also to make sure they're compliant with EU legislation on contaminants, and it's just a way of giving us that independent assurance. We have nothing to do with it, so the Fresenius logo is a real mark of our quality.
I think it's great. I mean, the work that goes in on the back end is just huge. And when I see all the auditing and stuff that happens, it's incredible.
It is a lot, and I think with product quality, it's all something we take for granted.
It is.
Until something goes wrong. So it's very much that backroom job, but it's really critical.
Okay, we're getting towards the end. What does the company do? Done that one. What is the future for the premium capsules?
So, well, what I really like about looking ahead is if we look back, we can see that our capsules have been absolutely on the mark for the past 26 years. And that's in terms of what dietary recommendations are and kind of the trends we see. And there's no reason to expect that's going to change. You know, people are still recommending 5 or more portions of fruit and veg a day. The evidence is still there, and there's still a gap. So for our capsules, they're still going to say very much on trend and still be there as a need. we are looking for always the next opportunity for even better improvements, but that will always be in line with our continuous commitment to research.
Fantastic. I've spent our whole morning talking about this, by the way, just because I'm sort of a massive product to the product with Capsules. I really am. What I would like to do as well is maybe just finishing off as well, talking a little bit about our Amiga, because that's a capsule as well.
Yeah.
And of course we introduced this a couple of years ago now, and plant-based Amiga as well. No fish in there, it's cutting out the middle fish. Tell us a little bit about that if you can.
Okay, so I love this product.
It is, I'm going to have to get one of these out just to show everybody as well, because I just love looking at them.
What I love is, for exactly the reason you've said, it is
look at that there.
Completely consistent with our whole food, minimally processed, plant-derived nutrition ethos. And that applies across all our products, and this is a perfect example. And like you say, we recognised a need, particularly for omega-3s, and we addressed that need without including the fish. And there were concerns, people might not be able to eat fish, they might not like it, they might be allergic to it, there may be concerns about sustainability.
Yeah.
So we cut out the fish and we've gone for plant-derived. And of course what I also like is the fact that it's whole food. So we use the whole oils from all these different ingredients, and that will give us the mix of omegas. So like us, no plant, or I don't think any plant, is made up of just one type of fat. And so by using the whole oil, we get that lovely mix, which leads to omega blends. And we've got some really exciting ingredients.
It's an amazing product, it really is, very, very exciting.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us today to talk about everything Capsules with Juice Plus. It really has been really good, some great information there, Sue. I hope you've enjoyed this, by the way. I'm going to have plenty of fruits, vegetables and berries, by the way, for this weekend. I'm taking it back to my wife. But thank you very much. Some great information, and we're going to be doing this on a regular basis as well, so hopefully you can join us again. Thank you very much indeed. Bye-bye.
Bye.